Hello and welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. My name is Greg Deckler, and today we're going to be taking a look at the results. You're going to see my live reaction to the results of a recent poll I conducted. And this was in follow-up to a couple videos ago. I did a video saying, why does Microsoft Fabric exist? And my belief, my theory around why Microsoft Fabric exists is because it was designed to save Azure Synapse by basically bundling Azure Synapse with Power BI. Very successful thing, not so successful thing, that they could actually, bring Azure Synapse up and gain market share and ground within the data analytics space, data warehousing space, and all that, which is a super competitive, part of the market. All right, so as a follow-up to that, I created this poll that essentially said, paraphrasing, will Microsoft Fabric's bundling of Synapse with Power BI, will that save Azure Synapse, right? Because Azure Synapse, if you remember, you might not remember, but it was kind of billed by Microsoft as being this all-in-one platform for all of your data analytics, where you go to do all of that stuff, which sounds eerily, creepily the same message that Microsoft's promoting Azure Fabric as, right? Well, there you have it. So I created this poll because I have my opinions on stuff, but I like to get other people's perspective when I can. And I had this poll set for 3 days, which I do with most of my polls, because it's a couple reasons. I like to give people time to vote on it and make comments and that sort of stuff. And also, if I set it for a day, I'm going to be checking the stupid thing like every hour of the day, and so if I set it for 3 days, I found that I kind of forget about it. I'll check it for the first, couple hours, just to kind of see what's rolling in. And then, I got better stuff to do. So I'll go on and do other stuff. And then I can come back and, take a look at it once it's closed, and I can do some analysis of it. So figured I'd just do it live. This is pre-recorded, but you're going to see my live reaction to the poll results. So I'm on my all activity page, which you'll see a bunch of memes here, I'm assuming, because a lot of, I post one every day. So let's go ahead and let's go find the poll. Oh, there it is. So, all right, I don't want to look too closely at it. Click on it. No, that's not it. Okay. How do I actually see the poll results? How do I get to the actual? There we go. Nope, that's just the engagements. I want to actually see the post. Copy link to post. Just do it that way. You can tell I didn't prepare anything for this. I don't even know how to get to the stupid poll results. Okay, so I didn't have a lot of expectations coming out of this. I did have one thing that I was almost certain would happen with this poll. So let's see if I'm correct. So let's check the comments. Wow, only 2 comments. Only 2 comments, and wow, I'm floored. I'm floored by this. Huh. I'm gonna get to this in a minute. I'm gonna come back to this. So as you can see, the poll got 5,399 impressions, got 116 votes. I can actually see who voted for what if I click on this, but I won't do that to everybody. And then so now it looks like the no got a little bit higher than the absolutely yes. So by about 5 percentage points. I'm a little surprised by this. I thought, given the people that follow me, that I assume follow me, because I pretty much mostly what I talk about is Microsoft and Power BI, I figured that this would be high. These two together would be higher than 50%, but they're lower by about 46%. And then this is 53. So yeah, so there must be some decimals to make up the last percentage. So I'm a little surprised by that. Most people think it has at least a 50-50 chance of working, right? Which makes sense. When you think about it, right? Yeah, I mean, here's where I think that Microsoft can make some ground up, because a lot of people use Power BI, but not all of them by any stretch of imagination use Azure Synapse today, right? And so I guess by bundling them together, and if you think about it, so if a Power BI premium license, let's say $5,000 a month for for Power BI Premium P1. Now it's an F64 SKU. Like I can get that same thing for an F64 SKU, in theory for the same price. Once you make a yearly commitment, I would assume I've seen different things about this, some tweets and things like that from Amir, or regarding the pricing and stuff like that. It sounds like it's going to be higher initially, but there's no commitment. Versus if you make a commitment, you're going to get a big price drop or a price break. The stuff I've seen is they're saying that an F64 is the equivalent of a P SKU. I'm assuming that's a P1, at least in the documents that I've seen from Microsoft. So, so where I can see this being a benefit to Azure Synapse is paying, somebody, the bean counters and those guys saying, why are we paying for the same thing twice? Let's say that an existing Power BI customer, they have a premium, SKU, but they're also using Databricks or they're using Snowflake or something like that on the back end, and they're connecting Power BI to it. Right now, that I'm sure the bean counters and that will come in and say, well, you're paying for the same thing twice, right? You're paying, five whatever grand for Databricks over here, and you're paying $5,000 for Power BI. But it also comes now with Azure Synapse, and Azure Synapse, in theory, you can replace Databricks with Azure Synapse or Snowflake with Azure Synapse, and you can get rid of that expense. So I think that's in the short term. That's where I could see Microsoft making up some ground around like bundling it together, right? Because that does make some amount of sense. But I mean so I think I think this is valid, right? I think the thinking out there is similar to mine, probably, that it's probably going to work to some degree. How successful it is, it's tough to say. But let me get to the thing that just absolutely is shocking to me, because even when I posted this, I was thinking to myself, I wonder who's going to be the first, or how long it's going to take for the first person to basically say, Greg, you're an idiot, right? Azure Synapse didn't even need saving, right? I figured there would at least be one comment. I figured there would be many comments along that line of thinking, and to not see any. Wow, I am just shocked by that, honestly, because it's the internet, man. Everybody's got a critique or whatever, and all of that. And I had to believe that I have this 18% of MS fanboys out there, that somebody would make that argument, right? That it's at Synapse didn't need saving, but nobody questioned the entire premise of this poll, which is that Azure Synapse needed saving. That speaks volumes to me, on just how bad a state Synapse is in. I mean, that's crazy to me. And I got to check this. So I'm not going to reveal who voted for what, but I do need to check one thing, because I always like to check these, especially on some of the memes I do. I always come here and go to companies. So 35 people from Microsoft viewed this poll, and it didn't defend Synapse. Maybe they're restricted from commenting on social media or something, but 35 people from not one of them would defend Synapse. Wow, that's crazy. Again, that just speaks volumes to me of where Synapse is in the market. And let me one last thing about this. I'll just kind of go through. I don't know. I'll go through kind of my, why did I come to this conclusion? I got to get to the right page here, on my screen, but why did I kind of come to this conclusion in the first place? Maybe you're asking, right? Is it just because I want to give Microsoft a hard time, blah, blah, blah? No, that's like, I have a day job where my responsibility includes this kind of strategically looking at the market and what products are in the market and which ones are succeeding in that. And definitely following Microsoft very closely is also quite a big part of my job. So the way I look at the market, again, it's very it's very competitive market. But let's say we break it down. We try to simplify things a little bit, and we break it down and say, look, who are the major players that are out there in the data warehousing and data analytics space and that sort of thing. And so I generally come up with maybe about 7 names, I would say, right? You're going to have Amazon Redshift, you're at Amazon, right? You're going to have Google, you're going to have Microsoft, you're going to have IBM. I will put Databricks in that category. And then, probably count Oracle, right? So there's 6. Who am I forgetting? So Snowflake. Duh. Okay, so Snowflake, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Databricks, Oracle, IBM. All right, let's say there's 7. Okay. So the way I think about this, in my mind, is like, okay, to a certain degree, at least what I'm seeing in the market, right? I don't see a ton of Microsoft going head to head with Redshift, Azure Synapse going head to head with Redshift. The way I look at it in that regard is if like you're an Oracle shop or an IBM shop, or you are a Google shop or an Amazon shop, right? As your cloud strategy, that's your cloud that you've bet the farm on, if you will. So for those, if you're one of those, if you bet on those cloud, providers, you're probably going to go with their data warehousing. Microsoft can be shut out of those, right? The people that are Amazon customers, they're going to go with Redshift, right? People that are Google, they're going to go with BigQuery, right? It's my simplistic, kind of view of things. And I know it's, we're trying to make a big swag here, people. So bear with me. So that leaves Snowflake, Databricks, and Microsoft. Synapse, right? Because those all 3 run on the Microsoft stack. So typically, when I see Synapse going up against somebody, it's usually Synapse versus Snowflake, or Synapse versus Databricks, or Synapse versus Databricks and Snowflake, right? So, and then I have to add another category to this, right? A 5th category, which is like all the other, right? Because the analytics space is a very big space, and so like we'll just include a 6th one here, right? So here's 5 that they aren't going to participate in. This one that combines those 3 vendors, that's Microsoft's piece of the pie, let's say, because all those things can run on Microsoft. So 6 is like it includes like Denodo and data virtualization, all the data virtualization stuff. The people that they don't want to build a warehouse, they want to leave their stuff in place, and they want to build a data virtualization layer. All right, so basically what you have then is so let's just assume, again, we're making broad assumptions here. We have 1 divided by 6, right? So we have these 5, and then Microsoft, the 3. So they're already at 17% of the market. And again, I realize it's assuming a lot of big things, like they're all equal. But let's just say it just averages out that these are equal parts of the pie, just for swag purposes. And I realize that's a big assumption. So now you got these 3, right? You got Synapse, you have Snowflake, you have Databricks. Now, in my experience, again, this is all my experience, and maybe I'd love some comments, in this and what other people see about this. But in my experience, when I see Synapse go head to head against Snowflake or Synapse head to head against Databricks, I see my Synapse coming out on top maybe 20% of the time, right? That's it. 2 times out of 10, Synapse is going to win. The rest of the time, it's Snowflake's going to win or Databricks is going to win. That's just from my personal anecdotal, view of what I see, and obviously it's very limited to only things that I'm exposed to. That's what I see. So now, if you think about that, so 20%, so times 0.2, that's 3% of the market that Synapse has, right? Roughly, right? And I don't know if that's true. Market data on this stuff's hard to come by. Or you have to pay through the nose for research reports and all that sort of stuff. So I just like to swag things, but that's my kind of swag in terms of, now if I look at 3%, I'm thinking that's a terrible number, right? Which is kind of what drove my analysis of why I came to the conclusion of that Microsoft's seeing the same thing, and they're like, well, the only way, go back to the playbook, let's bundle it with something that's successful, right? And that's how they've salvaged a number of products over the years. Standard Microsoft, classic Microsoft playbook. So that's kind of what was the origin of my analysis. Again, big swag numbers, happy if somebody wants to, say, Greg, you're wrong, you're an idiot. Microsoft is winning, at least 50% of the deals that, they see. I mean, everybody has their own perspective and their own insights into all of this. So would like to see other people's perspectives on this. That's my analysis. And I guess but I guess there's nobody that's willing to step up and say that Synapse wasn't in a horrible state within the market. I'm honestly, I'm just, that's the most amazing thing about this poll that I've seen. So that's it for this video. It's short, and not like my hour-long video that came before this on Direct Lake. But if you want to see some additional thoughts, analysis of things like Direct Lake and that, go check out that video as well. I'll see you next time.